Are present except for member Isaac, not yet. Voting sequence for this meeting is as follows: Mathis, Sanchez, Tuttle, Bailey, Idle, Isaac, and Nofel. I'd like to open up. Is there any audience to visitors? I want to welcome the students here to participate in the meeting, or at least listen, see what's going on. So, thank you for coming. We will start with the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All members respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac, Nofel is yes. We'll go to the secretary's report. Do you have anything?
No.
Superintendent's agenda.
Okay, the first thing on our agenda tonight is we have Ms. Mayhew and Mrs. Bosk with us to give a presentation about the art programs within our district.
I gave everybody a little packet to kind of give you an idea of our program, and the long, slender one is kind of an end of the year brochure that I do, kind of tells us what we've done throughout the year, what we've been involved with, and some of our art projects, and some of the prizes that the students from Mayo win. And art is the first form of expression for our children, just as it was thousands of years ago when the cavemen drew art in caves. Fast forward to the Egyptians. We know about the Egyptians through their art, not those written language. Then you fast forward with art into the Renaissance, where you have Michelangelo, and what will we do without his works of art? Then I'm going to fast forward to Picasso, Georgia O'Keeffe, just to name, and Seurat, to name a few of the artists the kids kind of study today in some of the art projects we do. But it's so important for them to have this kind of program in their schools. Usually you have art in homes, you have it in businesses, you have it on the streets, we have it in our schools, we have it, well, here now. I won't say anything, but maybe a little bit.
Good read back there.
But we have it in our communities to enjoy. So our children's first communication with us are just scribbles, and you think they're just scribbles, but they're a way of communicating to us. So it needs to be taken from there, coming on to school, and we really integrate the arts with reading, writing, and math. And some of the math things, areas that we do in junior high, we do measuring, we do grids, we do lines, proportions, scribing angles, symmetry, vertical, horizontal, straight lines, rulers. They're all things that you use in everyday life, and they're really important in art. And when we do our portraits, they learn to make a grid. It's a 1-inch grid, and they take a picture of somebody that they, when they're in 6th grade, they do a self-portrait. After that, they can pick somebody. And this is somebody that sings, and I wouldn't have a clue who that person is, but that's what the child wanted to do. We also do computer searches. When I have an art project, I have samples that I show them. We go through it step by step so they know how to do it. I turn them loose. They can look on the computer for samples for themselves. Then they do what's interesting to them, but within the project that we're going to do. Because I don't want 100 of the same thing. I think it's, let's get what's interesting to that child, and it's usually a much better art project when they enjoy doing it. Like I said, some of the people that we study in the arts, George Seurat, there's pointillism, and I like to do that because the original is at the Art Institute in Chicago. It kind of makes it a little more real to them that something is there that they know. We also give back to our community. We painted the red bird for the lights at Christmas. We do things like that. We've done blackout walls for dances, so we have art up with the dances. We've done Christmas cards and sold them for the school, for the arts, and the children do their dog portraits. I take them to a place called Big Picture, and they put into the dog cards that I make you, and then we sell them and make a profit. They also do this for the community. They're involved in giving back. They do it for the dog rescue, and they love to have somebody say, oh, I bought one of your cards at the dog auction. So it really is a nice program for the kids. We have about 100 students that sign up for art throughout the day, and they come out of the study hall. Some of the students have band and they can't participate, so we have art club after school every Wednesday. About 20 kids participate in that. And let's see, the honors this year. We have every spring we have a Edgar County student art show, and different schools from all over the county. We have Crestwood, Paris High School, Kansas Junior, Senior, and High School, Shiloh, Chrisman Junior and Senior High, and we compete against all of those. And we took the first place, which was this one. We have a second place, which was the dog over there. Third place was this little sculpture of a squirrel. We had 2 honorable mentions, which was a self-portrait over there, and this mask. We do 3D too. This mask, honorable mention. And the Sunday that we have this reception, the place is packed with parents and kids. So it's really well received in the community. So you can look at all of this. I think Mr. Larson gave you this. We made the Terre Haute paper. It's called Art and Wine. And this was the county art show, and we made the whole page there. And then in your packet, you either have a blue or white sheet that goes out from the art center, and the dog portrait made the front page of that, so that goes out to all kinds of people that belong to the arts. Then at the end of the year, I do, this is for Mr. Larson, we do book binding. And so the kids learn how to make a book by binding it, which is a lost art. And then I put in brochures for him. And then the kids, every project they do, I keep a picture of what they do, and they put it into this book. And then at the bottom, they do calligraphy. So I pile in as much as I can for the different projects. So they really get a lot of art throughout the year. And it's a wonderful, wonderful program. Couldn't say any more happy things about it. I love being over there. The students are great. The administration is great. Everybody's helpful. You guys are always wonderful to support us. So.
And we're lucky to have you too.
Oh, thank you.
Very
I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
Next up, we have Ms. Mayhew from Memorial and Carolyn Williams.
So this is my 5th year teaching here in the district, and I just put together a PowerPoint of some of the different artwork that we've created this year. We've already had our student art show for Memorial that was on April 27th, and this week on May 11th we'll have our student art show for WINT. So this just has some examples from each grade level of what we do in our schools. So when the kids come to art, the top 3 priorities I have for them are the students come in feeling safe and welcome. That's going to really build our relationships and open up their creativity in the art room. The second is that the students and I have a relationship of trust and honesty. Knowing that I'm going to be able to trust them, at their table with paints or brushes while I'm walking around to the other ones is a really big trust exercise for me, especially at the beginning of the year. And then the third one is that we're learning a curriculum that is definitely relevant to the students and their culture. So I want to make sure that the students are learning, what we can see here in Paris and our surrounding community, not just, the world of art that we would find over in the Louvre or in other parts of the world. So we want to expand our horizons and see those, but we also want to focus on art around us. So this is kindergarten, and these are some art projects that we based off of artists. The 2 birds were based off of Salvador Dali project. which was really fun because we got to look at some of his artwork and talk about how his art's surreal, so it's real, but it's like we would see in a dream. And so we gave these birds really long, squiggly, wiggly legs, as we called it. And we had a lot of fun with it. But then we talked about textures as well. So we have a cactus over here. And we had to talk about, would you go and touch a cactus? Would you hug it? And we had to put the textures on it that would show us how we would, treat that cactus, basically. This is more kindergarten projects. I finished up with my master's this past year, in the fall I graduated, and it gave me a really good opportunity to look at the art that I do with my students and to see, how we're learning our art. So I wanted to start on getting their art more focused on themselves. So how they look at themselves as an artist, how they look at themselves in the school, in the community, where they see themselves in their family. So the one with the black strip, that is a road, and that is the student's neighborhood. So the purple object is her house, and those are her neighbors next to her. And she can tell you who they are, I'm sorry, I can't remember. And then that's her street in front of her. And then the two art pieces of art next to it are the students and their families. So we have pets in there, all their siblings, some of them even went on to their family, like their grandparents and aunts and uncles. So that was all of them enclosed in their house. So that brought in our art, showing how it relates to us personally. For first grade, you can see from our student that they're very enthusiastic. We work on some three-dimensional objects, so we had some stuffed sea creatures, as we called it, and it was just construction paper that we stuffed with recycled materials. So this is one of them, and we hung them in the hallway, and the kids got to take them home and hang them in their classroom. And then we experimented with different types of materials. So the hearts up there are watercolor pencils. We experimented with painting with cups, we paint with forks, we'll paint with sometimes our fingers and strings and things like that. We also have free time. So the boat is a painting that a student did in their free time. So that gives us a lot of opportunity to just experiment with what we have and what we've learned. And in second grade, we go on, we're still learning about artists. So this first piece, we talked about Wassily Kandinsky and how we could take his art with circles related to nature. And it's almost like a fairy tale. The centerpiece was talking about optical illusions of art. And it seems so simple, but that was really difficult for these second graders to make because they had to reverse the colors on the inside. And then the last piece of artwork was the start of a weaving. We talked about weavings, and I've never done yarn weavings with students, but they turned out beautiful. So this was one of them that we did. And we had to, make the face inside, and we cut the slits and talked about odd and even numbers, and then did our yarn to weave it. And they had to measure their yarn, arm's length, and did all of that on their own. It was a wonderful experience for us all. And then third grade, we go on, and we really start to focus on artists. The first piece is based off Jasper Johns, who was a pop artist, and the students, we used their birthdays. So they had to learn their birthdays in number format. We had to do a couple trial and errors with it, but it was really successful. So this is that student's birthday. And the next one is based off of Keith Haring, and we really have to work on making forms and shapes. So we took a few weeks and we worked on making less stick figures and taking our people and making them actually look like people with our forms and our shapes. I really love this piece. I wanted to make sure I brought this because the student loved Gabrielle Douglas, who I guess she's a gymnast. And this student, that's her role model. So she wanted to make sure that she made each section represent that gymnast. And it has, again, I can't remember every single word that you would use for gymnastics, but it has all the different beams and maps and whatever you would find on there. So she brought in her interest to that. And in fourth grade, we get into some more complicated symmetry and weaving styles. So the first one is a landscape painting that we did a tree weaving on top of. And that has two different weaving techniques in there. And then the second two circle pieces are radial symmetry. So we learned about symmetry and how you start to split it off into more lines. And those are made with the students' names. So it's really fun to try to figure out whose name, but the first one is Bailey and the second one is Kushi. And so, again, that was tricky to make, just like our optical art was in second grade. And then fourth grade, more artists. We take these artists and we really start to connect them with ourselves. At this point, students are really being self-conscious about themselves and their drawings. When they make people, they want their people to look like that person. They want it to be realistic. And that's so challenging and can be so discouraging. So this is the time when we take our art, put it on our head, it looks nothing like what it should, and that's okay. So this is a James Rizzi inspired portrait where everything's exaggerated. It doesn't have to look realistic at all. Our eyes are huge, our noses look like 6s and 7s, and it's really fun. And so then at the top was another James Rizzi style, and it's kind of hard to see on here, but the student even drew like a shark eating another fish, and it has this food chain down below. And we did those with watercolor and watercolor pencil. So then the last landscape painting down there is done with oil pastels, where we worked on blending our colors and making things look more realistic, adding some texture, and just having a lot of fun with it. The kids really love the oil pastels. They get to mix the colors, and it's nice and creamy, so it's really just good to use. It's good for their hands. So fifth grade, we do a lot with words. So this is an onomatopoeia that the students we talked about. We talked about comic books and the artist Roy Lichtenstein. And then we practice our cursive by overlapping our letters and having them be a variety of sizes. And then the shapes they filled in reminded us of Pierre Mondrian. So we took those lines and shapes to make these pieces of artwork. And then, of course, we have to do an Eiffel Tower Paris project. And I put 3 different options up here, I guess 3 different paintings, so you can see just how the students could take this one idea and make it their own. So the first one is kind of similar to the example I had, where it was just the Eiffel Tower, simple landscape, but then they, took that Eiffel Tower instruction and made it their own. So we have this beautiful floral one, almost like fireworks, and that student made it into almost like a diorama. So they, have the strings where the clouds are hanging, and it's like a stop motion animation is how she described it. After school on Thursdays, I do a 5th grade art club, and it's just for fun. Any student can be involved in it. They just have to sign up and give me a good reason why they want to do it. And we learn different types of art. So these are art projects that I feel like, students who really have a passion for art, they really want to try their hardest, we can do these projects. So the jars down at the bottom were just tissue paper jars to put tea light battery candles in there. Those were at the 5th grade concert. We talked about pixel art, and then also positive negative symmetry. And then these are just some fun pictures I brought in. Doing 3-dimensional art is a challenge in our art room, but we do a lot of it with paper, so we do origami. So we have our origami hats down there. I have students who, once every day we start with a sketchbook for 5 minutes, so they'll draw different things, and they know that I love Harry Potter, so we have lots of Harry Potter drawings. And then in March we had a youth art month, so one day was dressed like an artist, so Bob Ross came and visited us. It was a great day. And then we had a March Madness bracket that my art club kids did. So they had to take 2 pieces of famous artwork, find a common theme between those 2 pieces. For example, they took the Great Wave off Kanagawa and Starry Night, and the theme between those was the color blue. But then we had another one where the theme was nature, so Monet's Garden, and then The Sunflower by Georgia O'Keeffe. And so the class would vote, we'd narrow our way down, and we had one final winner, which was Love by Robert Indiana. So that was a really nice one. It was a really fun all-school activity, but this is another 3-dimensional piece one of my first graders made. So just getting all of those in there, getting the 3-dimensional art in there is fun, and it's a lot of, it's challenging for them, but they enjoy it. They always are willing to work with me, so.
Thank you. Our first thing on the agenda tonight is resignations. We have resignations for custodians and also for our Carolyn Wentz Student Council co-sponsor. So we have John Rigdon and Debbie Rush have submitted their resignation letters as custodians to Sam Roberts, and Jamie Larson has submitted her resignation as Carolyn Wentz's Student Council sponsor. She's a co-sponsor, and that was submitted to Amy Perry. At this time, I'm asking the board to approve the resignation of John Rigdon and Debbie Brush as custodians and Jamie Larson as the student council sponsor.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resignation of John Rigdon, Debbie Brush, and Jamie Larson. Any discussion? And please vote as the following: Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no votes yes.
Next is the custodial pay scale. The current custodial pay rate is $10.50 per hour for individuals who were with TBM and then began working with Paris 95. Individuals who are brand new are making $9.50 an hour. It is my recommendation to the board to approve the pay rate for full-time custodial staff to $10.50 per hour for all, and that'd be for all custodians, and $10 per hour for sub-custodians. At this time, I ask the board to approve the custodial pay rate to $10.50 for full-time custodians and $10 for substitute custodians.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the custodial pay rate to $10.50 for full-time and $10 for substitute. Any discussions? If not, please vote as Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
no votes yes.
Next is a facility request. The Douglas County Health Department was able to obtain a grant to feed youth through a summer meal program. They've requested the use of Paris 95's facilities throughout the summer. At this time, I ask the board to approve the use of facilities for the Douglas County Health Department.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the use of facilities for the Douglas County Health Department for meal times during the summer. Any discussion?
That will be in this building.
That is correct. The plan is for it to be in this building. If we had to do a backup building, we move it over to Mayo Middle School. They specifically requested this property. They wanted to be on a property that had playgrounds. It's difficult at the two elementaries because you have summer cleaning going on. And so they wanted to be around some playgrounds for kids.
Sounds good. Please vote as follows: Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
no votes yes.
Next is employment of a custodian. With the resignation of two custodians, the district has posted the position and interviewed candidates. Mr. Sam Roberts is recommending Bill Gosnell for employment as a custodian, and we still have one position available if you want to put that in the newspaper for us. And so at this time, I ask that the board approve Bill Gosnell as a full-time custodian pending an occupational physical examination, and he has already passed his fingerprint examination and been cleared for his background check.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Bill Gosnell as full-time custodian pending occupational physical examination. Any discussions?
He'll make you a good, moving forward. He's a good guy.
Please vote as follows: Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no votes yes.
Next, we have employment as team leader. So the position of team leader has been posted, and all candidates have been interviewed who applied. The following individuals are being recommended for the position of team leader. For kindergarten, Emily Vaughn; first grade, Sheila Grant; second grade, Amy Hitchman; third grade, Megan Carroll; fourth grade, Dana Kravitz; fifth grade, Monica Smith. At this time, I ask the board to approve the elementary team leaders.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the team leaders for the elementary team. Any discussion? If not, please vote as follows: Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Abstain.
no votes yes.
Next, we have employment for a band director. So we had a committee that included a high school band parent, a middle school band parent, current band director at the high school, former band directors, and we had an entire conversation about what type of characteristics are we looking for in a new band director. We also developed interview questions. After we had that music focus group, then what we did is we interviewed 11 candidates on a Saturday, and we went through all of those with a committee of individuals, and we had several individuals who were a part of that. After that, we were able to narrow it down, And we had, for second round interviews, we had former band directors come in such as Joe Gill, also Abby Hauser. We were also able to get, Carol Jones was there, Kevin Pruitt, Amy Perry, and myself. We had them direct the band in front of us. And then we followed that up by, interviews after that. And the committee came to a decision to recommend Christina Farley for the position as the band director. At this time, I ask the board to approve Christina Farley as the band director.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Christina Farley as the new band director for elementary. Any discussion? If not, please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay. Next, we have employment for a basketball coach. The basketball position has been posted. All candidates who applied were interviewed by Mr. Roberts and myself. Mr. Roberts is recommending Rod Roderick as the 8th grade boys basketball coach. Rod has served as an IDSA official and assistant coach for City League. At this time, I ask the board to approve Rod Roderick as the 8th grade boys basketball coach.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Rod Roderick as the 8th grade boys basketball coach. Any discussion? If not, please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Next is employment for summer work for special education. Flossie Stafford is a special education grant, and they continue to fund our summer programs annually. This year, I'm recommending Cheryl Redmond as the art instructor, Mary Frizz as the art aide, and for art, the grant gives us $5,773. For Joellen Henson as social work, that's $3,884 from the grant. And Cindy Barbie as a speech pathologist, that's $3,237. The other thing I'll say is that is including benefits, so benefits are included in that number, not on top of that number. So, at this time, I ask the board to approve Cheryl Redmond, Mary Frizz, Joellen Henson, and Cindy Barbie for summer special education employment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Cheryl Redmond, Mary Frizz, Joella Henson, and Cindy Barbie as summer special education employment. Any discussion?
Were these applied for, or did you just pick them?
These were applied for, we posted the positions, and then it's everyone who's done it in the past. So, I'll be honest with you, I have not, I have not observed these programs in the past, so I have not been to summer, or I have not seen summer speech. So this will be my first summer to actually observe that. So,
I can tell you that summer art program is a fun program.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
The others, I'm not saying they're not, but I'm just saying, I know, they are good.
Please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Next is employment for a summer cook. The Douglas County Health Department was able to obtain the grant for summer meal program, and they'll be hosting the program in the Paris 95 School District for the month of June, and it should be in July, for the month of June and July. This grant will pay for the cost of a cook and the food. Darla Davidson is recommending Mandy Branson to work as a summer cook for this program. That will be at $10.50 per an hour.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Mandy Branson as summer cook through the funding of a grant obtained by the Douglas County Health Department. Any discussion?
What does that grant, pay? Is that the $150 a day grant?
Yeah, we'll be charging them $150 a day, for labor, and then also we will be charging them per meal as well.
Okay.
And that's something we'll have to work out, and we have a meeting set for this Wednesday.
Please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Next is our meal price. Annually, school districts from throughout the state are required to evaluate their lunch price and make necessary increases. This year, District 95 is required to increase their lunch price by 10 cents. Student lunches will then be at $2.45, adult lunches will then be at $2.70. Enclosed is a copy of the CEP revenue document. We did go through and look at the community eligibility provision program. And what that is that's the program where it's where everyone would eat for free. And so I took the exact worksheet off of the state board's website. I printed off every single one of our month's reimbursements, plugged the numbers in. If we use the numbers that we had this year, so this year if we were under CEP, we would have lost $6,000 in revenue. And it says right there on the state board's worksheet, it will automatically tell you, we recommend traditional, we recommend CEP. And you can see on that printout, the state board says, we recommend for you traditional. So I'm recommending we stay with traditional, and therefore we have to increase that lunch price by 10 cents. And I have every single month in there for you to look at, in case you'd like to. So at this time, I ask the board to approve an increase of the meal prices by 10 cents.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve an increase in the meal price for this, of 10 cents for this coming school year. Any discussion? Please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
No.
Idle,
Yes.
no vote yes.
Next are the handbooks. Paris 95 annually updates their handbooks. Enclosed in your packet are the following handbooks: the elementary handbook, the middle school handbook, the middle school athletic handbook, the faculty handbooks, and also the support staff handbooks, and I've outlined all the changes. You will note that in those handbooks that staff will change, so as employment happens. Also, we have to update our board members as they reorganize, and this has been a project we've been working on. So we'll have to change that as well. Also, one of the handbooks had dates in it, so dates will change as the calendar is approved tonight as well. So at this time, I ask the board to approve the student, athletic, faculty, and support staff handbooks.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the student, athletic, facility, and supportive staff handbooks. Any discussions? If not, please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no vote yes.
Okay, next is policies. This evening is the second reading of our policies. 2 months ago, the school board policy committee met to review the policies as recommended by IASB. Last month, we discussed those policies as a committee. This evening, I asked the board to adopt these policies. I will note that there are 2 policies that we have modified, not since the last meeting, but modified from IASB. And we discussed it at the last meeting, but I just want to review that again. The first policy is with our support staff schedule. So we specifically outline our support staff schedule. So for example, if you are a school secretary, that is not a 12 month. So if you are male middle school secretary, you go 10 days before the beginning of the year, you go 10 days after the end of the student attendance. So we continue to outline for our support staff those schedules. The second policy that we did change, but we added an article to, which usually we don't, but we left this one, is the ethics. So there was an article that District 95 has always had, and we maintained that. Inside there is spelling corrections that I had made and put in your packet. So, at this time, I ask the board to adopt the policies as presented by the policy committee.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the policies as presented by the policy committee. Any discussion? If not, please vote. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no vote yes.
Next, we have MSB transportation contract for daily routes. Annually, we approve our contract with MSB Transportation. This year, I'm recommending that the rates remain the same, but the contracts be split due to help maximizing our state reimbursements. The high school will have a separate contract this year. The first contract I will ask the board to approve is the daily route transportation contract, and I have already reviewed these with Michelle and Scott Wall in person. At this time, I ask the board to approve a 1-year contract with MSB for daily routes.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a 1-year contract with MSB for the daily routes. Any discussion?
Are we staying with the same number of routes we had last year?
Yeah, so all of our routes will remain the same, our costs will remain the same. This year, what we're working on is just trying to maximize our revenue. We're gonna make an attempt and see what we can do. And I've been working with, they call them principal consultants at the state board, and so, we believe that this is an option that we can work on. If they ever pay you your revenue.
We had to hand it, we had to make it,
Any other discussion? Now please vote. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
yes.
no fours, yes.
Okay, next is our second contract with MSB Transportation Contract for extracurricular. The MSB extracurricular contract maintains the same cost of extracurricular expenses as the prior year. It is my recommendation to approve a one-year contract with MSB Transportation for extracurricular transportation. So at this time, I ask the board to approve a one-year contract with MSB for extracurricular transportation.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve a one-year contract with MSB for extracurricular transportation. Any discussion? If not, please vote. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no fours, yes.
Next is our risk management plan. Annually, Paris 95 updates their risk management plan. The risk management committee, auditors, and attorney have all reviewed the plan. At this time, I ask the board to approve the risk management resolution and plan.
So made.
We have a motion and a second to approve the risk management resolution and plan. Any discussion? If not, please vote. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no fours, yes.
Next is our food bid approval. The food bids have been publicly posted and reviewed. Darla Davidson recommends using the enclosed company for milk, bread, and groceries for the upcoming school year. Please note that items are purchased based on the lowest cost available at the time that they are needed. So it just depends on what the lowest cost is, what company she will go with at the time of the purchase. And you can see the companies outlined are the companies that we've used in the past. At this time, I ask the board to approve the food bids for the FY18 school year.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the food bids for the FY18 school year. Any discussion? Not, please vote. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no fours, yes.
Next is our boiler bid approval. The boiler bid at Carolyn Wentz Elementary School has been put out for bid. Bids have been reviewed with the Building and Grounds Committee. It is my recommendation that the Board of Education approve the bid from Reliable Plumbing and Heating Company. One thing I do want to say about that is that when we met as a committee, there was only one bid. We did find out today that there was a second bid. However, there are three requirements for bids. The requirements are you have to be the lowest bidder, you have to be a responsible bidder, so you have to be able to meet all the qualifications of doing the job. And the third qualification is you have to be a responsive bidder, which means you have to respond with your bid in the way that the bid is outlined. The bidder who submitted it, and we found out today, did not do it in the proper way, it was not brought to the proper location. I have contacted our school board attorney as well as the engineer. The engineer has a written email in your, it was on your, on the table as you came in, and you can see that he still recommends that we continue to go with the person who is low, responsible, and responsive. So that is the thing that we need to follow through with. So at this time, I ask the board to approve Reliable Plumbing and Heating Company.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bid from Reliable Plumbing and Heating Company for the Wentz boilers. Any discussion? Both bids were very close, so they were in the ballpark, which is good for us,
And it was much lower than what we had projected.
absolutely.
About $50,000 off the base bid, over our project even more. So,
Please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
no fours, yes.
Next is adopting the school calendar. The Illinois State Legislature has approved the calendar waiver for Paris 95. The waiver allows us to stay on the same page as Crestwood and Paris High School. The calendar is enclosed for your review. At this time, I ask the board to approve the 17-18 school year calendar.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2017-2018 school year calendar. Any discussion? No discussion, please vote as follows. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
no opposed, yes.
Under informational items, I would like to just say to our teachers, we appreciate you. I really appreciate the good relationship we have with our union. We had a big, long week last week of Teacher Appreciation Week. Our entire district did something special every single day for the teachers. And it's important to me that we maintain that positive relationship. And I appreciate that we have teachers who are committed to our district, so thank you. I would also like to just make a statement. I know that Art Reese has closed, and I do want to say that as a district, we use Art Reese lumber quite a bit. And so we're sad to see them go, and we just want them to know that we've appreciated doing business with them all these years because it was very convenient for us as a school district. The PHS Governance Committee met to review the intergovernmental agreement. I've included the notes for that. I'm not going to go over everything about that meeting, but they are all within your notes. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about that. We met today as a collaborative meeting between the board presidents and the superintendent and director. The attorneys have reviewed it, and so we're going through a process now, and we're going to bring it back to that governance committee and then eventually bring it back to this board to vote upon. But every change is outlined paragraph by paragraph painstakingly to make sure that everything was documented. Class size is always a very, tough conversation this time of year. Mr. Don and I have been watching class size at Memorial very closely. We do plan on sitting down with the teachers within the next week or two. We will have a recommendation to the board. Not that we will vote upon, but you will see that recommendation within the next week or two from Mr. Don as to the decisions that need to be made on that. And it's just one of those things that we continue to watch class size and see how it goes. Are there any questions about class size or discussion? Okay. Next is Mayo Middle School Athletics. Mr. Roberts wanted me to make sure to point out that we have been told we're getting the ISA Boys Golf Sectional at Eagle Ridge on Tuesday, September 5th at 9 a.m. We also have been awarded the IUSA State Girls Basketball 7th grade 2A state tourney at the Paris High School Saturday, December 2nd. And that is just, that's really strong for our school district to continue to support those types of tournaments. And I can't even count the number of regionals and sectionals that I'm sure we have hosted and will be hosting. That's a lot of work on his part, and I appreciate him stepping up to do that, because it looks good for our school district, it looks good for our community, it's good for our kids. And that's all done by Mick Roberts, so he does a wonderful job. We have several summer work projects coming up, such as we're changing out carpet, the boiler is going to be a huge project that we're going to be working on, and our telephone system. So, as you can see within the budget, we have really held off on our maintenance budget, holding our bottom line pretty low this year. And so we are going to be looking at updating our phone system. It really has become even like a safety issue of something that we need to do. When I wrote this, we had it estimated at $29,000 as a repair. When I sat down with Mr. Roberts and Mr. Bell today, we've actually got that whittled down to about $25,000. As we look at what we're paying for phone bills this month and every month compared to what we're going to be paying, we're going to save about $8,000 a year is what we're projecting. I actually have the quote, it was on your desk in front of you. We're going to be looking at spending about $900 a month roughly for phone lines. And right now we are spending about $1,775 a month on phone lines. So that's a huge decrease per month, plus we're able to update. The other thing I want to say is that we were able to receive $19,000 in E-rate dollars, which is for the support of technology that we did not budget for. And so I think this is a great project that we're going to be able to do, still stay within our budget parameters of this year, and I think that's going to be a good positive thing. Nathan or Sam, did you guys want to talk on any of those topics?
You mentioned the savings. I would just mention that the features of the new phone system would be quite extensive. We don't have voicemail or auto receptionist, and there are many other features that most people already have that we will have with the new system.
So I know a lot of time right now, we have a system that I really credit Sam Roberts to, that he has, put together, and throughout the years it's maintained. It's been a strong phone system, but as we look at Sam Roberts sunsetting here in the next year, we have to also be thinking about preparing, other staff to be able to take on some of those projects. And so I think this is a good project to be working on.
Yes, sir.
Do I understand this right? We have the $29,000 and $25,000 project.
Yeah, it went down to 25.
We're getting 19,000 from that 25, so we have 6,000 left, of which we only have to pay 20%, so we get a $25,000 project for $1,200.
That's about right, yeah. Now, what I want to say though is you're gonna see the expense go out to 25, because we were able, the revenue already came in. We pulled in revenue of 19,000.
Yeah.
I can show you that on our financial statements if you want. So yeah, we were able to pull that $19,000 in already. Now we're gonna push out the 25, and then on the hardware, we're gonna take that back and try to get E-rate to reimburse us at about 80%.
Still pretty good,
So when will this be done?
Our goal is to start this within the next month or two. Do you want to talk about a timeline? Or you have a timeline in mind, Nathan?
Just June or July, whenever is convenient for administration.
Yeah. It makes us nervous to start changing out phones just because it's so important in school during the day, so.
And we'll probably have to train at some point. We'll have to have a day,
Absolutely.
a day or two of training once they all come back.
I have just the funny, I think this is funny, but I'm sure Gary Down doesn't think this is funny. We have a phone in our office for students, and every time they dial, his extension is 217, so if kids call their parents at 217, he calls in, and they're both stuck. And I'm sure he doesn't enjoy the multitude of phone calls he gets. It just shows you our system's not quite what it should be. So,
I get a lot of calls.
I've updated some, I updated some of our upcoming dates so you can see what those dates are. So you got that sheet, there is a retirement party for Marilyn Wilmington and Debbie Dayton coming up. That'll be May 19th, that was on your desk as you came in. We also have a preschool graduation, high school graduation, and also we have the middle school graduation. So just be aware of those dates. I also put on there that if you come, what time to meet in advance, so that way you can be prepared to walk out. Also, we received a FOIA request in the last week, and it was from the Edgar County Watchdogs, and they were asking for our financial audit for the past 2 years, as well as a request for our long-term bond obligations. And we have fulfilled that FOIA request within the same day. We're on top of it. Next is we had Risk Management Committee meet. We approved that plan tonight. We also had the Transportation Committee meet. We approved that contract tonight. And the Finance Committee met, and what we did at that is we reviewed where we currently are and where we're heading in the next 2 months. And one of the things I do want to say is if you look at our operating expenses, so just our operating funds going into the last 2 months, we are currently $519,000 in the black. So we are in a strong position moving forward. The other thing I want to say is that revenue has already been pretty much given to us. The only thing that we really see coming in the next 2 months is primarily general state aid and maybe some lunch money. And then possibly special education money. There will be other revenue that flows in, but our expenses will surely flow out quicker than our revenue will come in. So we're in a good position within our last 2 months, but we'll have to see what is in store for us in these last two. One of the things I want to say also is that I sat in a meeting with a consultant from the Illinois State Board of Education. He's their financial consultant. And he said, when we go to budget next year, only budget for 2 categorical payments. That means that next year, we will get payment 2 and payment 3 of FY17 and FY18. That means that our payment 4 of FY17 will be paid in FY19. So the State Board is telling us that by FY19, you will be behind, we'll owe you 9 payments, which is insane to think about. And so I just think that's important to recognize that as we move forward, we're not supposed to get any more categorical payments this year, and they're telling us whatever we got this year, pretty much planned for next year will be similar. So, and I think that, and I commend our teachers, I commend our support staff, maintenance, everyone for holding a firm line this year, because we have done a tremendous job on our budget, and I think it's gonna come out a lot better than what we budgeted.
And our teachers.
Absolutely, our teachers.
Then you said 9 payments?
It will be 9 payments in FY '19, because you get 4 a year, so they'll have 4 in FY '19, the lowest 4 for FY '18, and then there will be the final FY '17 payment coming. You almost have to draw a diagram to really follow what I'm saying, but when you follow this every day,
And
How much is that?
$1,125,000. $1,125,000.
Nice.
Are they thinking there might be a budget?
I was told, do not, this is just what I've been told by the
Right.
people I
Yeah.
speak to that are pretty close, like in the management alliance. So when I say management alliance, I'm talking IASA, IEA, IP. They're saying that their prediction is the state will not have a full budget. They'll keep doing the piecemeal until there's a new governor. So, yeah. So, it's gonna be a lot of good.
Chicago, superintendent of schools or somebody is suing the mayor, or they don't think they're getting enough of the pie.
When is the governor come up for re-election?
2018. Yes, 2018. November of 2018.
So that ends my informational items and the superintendent's agenda.
Thank you. Any report of committees, public hearings and petitions, unfinished business, matters for follow-up, new business, right to revert to prior order of business, executive session. I have a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second.